There's not a chance in hell that this is funny or gonna work. And when you see those flat, corny, late-night monologue jokes with no audience, Colbert, there's Jimmy Kimmel, there's Fallon. What they're doing is just like reading off of a teleprompter. So a bunch of really good joke writers wrote them some stuff, and then they're playing to the audience, and the audience is like laughing, so they get this feedback, and they know how to do that. They stand there, and there's applause signs. And then there's producers. There's the warm-up guy that's literally telling people to clap. They're like, okay, explaining to the people. Yeah. Okay, when Jimmy comes out, I want a big round of applause. Let's practice.
They're just like the fact checkers. They're guardians of the narrative. You know, they are.
How can Jimmy Kimmel live with him? Like, Jimmy Kimmel is a talented guy, and I don't think he's like an evil person or something, but he's made this deal where he just serves power and attacks anybody who challenges power. Like, how can, honestly, how can he look in the mirror and say, I'm doing something honorable? Like, how can he live with himself? How can his wife sleep with him?
Well, it'd be...
I mean
it'd be one...
Late night television just got stripped bare, and the curtain wasn't pulled back by accident. It was ripped clean off. What once posed as comedy now stands exposed as a hollow performance. A parade of pre-written punchlines spoon-fed to obedient hosts like Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. Behind the fake applause and carefully timed laughter lies a machine designed not to entertain, but to protect the narrative. The warm-up clowns rally the audience, the producers choreograph every cheer, and the host grins on cue, all while masquerading as edgy truth-tellers. But here's the crack in the facade. When the jokes serve power instead of challenging it, the laughter isn't comedy, it's compliance. And Kimmel, he's not just telling jokes anymore. He's guarding the gate, standing watch for the very system he pretends to mock. This isn't late-night humor. It's propaganda with a punchline.
Jimmy Kimmel's a loser. I do Jimmy Kimmel. I did him a lot. Yeah. And he'd be standing on the sidewalk. Oh, sir, may I bring you in? He'd bring me in every time. The whole show is talking bad about Trump.
He called us doofuses when we had you on.
He's a group of doofuses in flat-brimmed hats.
Guess what? We
ask him how many.
What he did.
Ask him. Yeah, you do bigger. Yeah, you do. His show's dying.
Even the quote comedians, they were on propaganda duty too. Watch this.
He's also pushing U.S. intelligence to find evidence for this theory that the virus was accidentally released from a lab in Wuhan. That's his new angle to feed the wingnuts, to treat this virus like it was a conspiracy of some kind.
It should have never happened. This plague should never have happened. It could have been stopped. But people chose not to stop it.
What people? Tomorrow he'll blame the Spanish flu on Antonio Banderas.
Yeah. Imagine if you're a comedian and all of a sudden your cue card has all kinds of talking points from politicians and foreign governments on it. Don't read it. You degrade yourself and you become complicit in the greatest crime in history.
Jimmy Kimmel's late-night legacy just took another hit, and this one cuts deep. Once a sidewalk greeter, desperate to bring in guests, he's now the self-appointed gatekeeper of political orthodoxy, trading punchlines for talking points. What started as jabs at Trump has devolved into scripted monologues echoing the same tired propaganda. When comedy turns into a government press release, the joke isn't on the audience, it's on the host. Whether it's mocking lab leak theories or parroting the safe, approved narrative, Kimmel has mastered the art of making obedience look like humor. But when the cue cards start reading like intelligence briefings, a real comedian would toss them aside. Kimmel? He clutches them like a lifeline, smiling as he slides deeper into complicity with the very forces comedy was meant to challenge. This isn't wit, it's weaponized laughter.
Suck up to the people in charge.
Exactly.
He's their Praetorian Guard.
Yeah.
And it's like the self-hatred he must feel, because he wasn't always, that's my point. Yeah. I mean, Colbert has always been a hard partisan, talented guy, but obviously he's not a comedian. But Kimmel was a comedian. Like, how does he, I don't understand.
I don't know.
How he can...
Elon Musk may build rockets that break through the stratosphere, but according to critics, his mind is still trapped in Hollywood's suffocating leftist bubble. It's the kind of echo chamber where ideas bounce around, until they sound like truth, even if they're just recycled dogma. And then there's the blackface controversy, the old videos that resurfaced and forced an apology. For most, that would be a turning point. For Musk, it became fuel, instead of quietly moving on. He doubled down, charging further into the ideological trenches. The result? A billionaire with one foot in Silicon Valley, the other in Hollywood politics, and both firmly planted in a world where the narrative matters more than the nuance. When the oxygen runs out in that bubble, don't expect innovation, expect conformity dressed up as rebellion.
Equally is joking about each other indiscriminately. So yeah, I think comedians who, and this is why so much of comedy is not funny today. It's my chief criticism of like late night comedy, which I find unwatchable. I think it's totally unwatchable.
But also contemptible. I mean, they're collaborators.
They just like the fact checkers, they're guardians of the narrative.
Once upon a time, Jimmy Kimmel was a comedian, unpredictable, irreverent, and unshackled. Now, critics say he's traded the punchline for political servitude, standing guard like a Praetorian soldier for the very powers he once mocked. The transformation isn't just artistic, it's existential. They say it takes a special kind of self-loathing to abandon your craft for applause from the ruling class, and if that's true, then Kimmel's metamorphosis is a masterclass in self-betrayal. Stephen Colbert, they argue, was always a partisan showman, no surprise there. But Kimmel's fall from rogue jester to obedient court entertainer, that's the tragedy. The man who once thrived on comedic independence now seems to thrive on validation from authority. The question isn't just how can he, it's why would he ever want to?
I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos.
Comedy used to be the art of hitting everyone equally. No sacred cows, no off-limits targets. Now, many late-night hosts have become gatekeepers, not jesters. They don't punch up or down, they punch exactly where they're told. Critics argue they've traded the mischievous thrill of satire for the stale script of collaboration. Instead of challenging power, they protect it, acting more like fact-checkers of the political elite than entertainers for the public. The late-night stage, once a place for fearless, boundary-pushing humor, has, in their view, become a polished PR podium. The result? Not just unwatchable comedy, but something worse. Propaganda with a laugh track.
All right, it's not like anybody. Is that a shocker?
Well, what Tim Pool said is that Twitter was working with them. That I guess they weren't being honest about it. They were working with them. What were you telling me that Jimmy Kimmel tweeted something and tried to delete it?
Yeah, it looks like I could be wrong about this, but Kimmel was pissed at Musk.
Why?
For buying Twitter.
But what does he care? What does he?
The Oscars, once Hollywood's golden night, turned into a masterclass in awkward hosting, courtesy of Jimmy Kimmel. His opening monologue, more limp than legendary, as if he were straining to play a role he was never born to fill. Critics didn't just roll their eyes, they practically begged ABC to swap him out for anyone, even a bargain bin replacement like George Stephanopoulos. It wasn't just a bad night for Kimmel. It was a reminder that forced charisma and over-rehearsed edginess can't hide the absence of genuine wit. The red carpet may have been glamorous, but the stage felt like it was draped in beige.
Remember the Academy Awards? I said how he's the worst host in the history of the Academy Awards. And this stupid guy goes up, and just before the Best Picture of the Year, the show is almost over. They're waiting for the Best Picture of the Year. He gets up and he says, and his wife said, please don't do it. Please, darling, don't go out. His manager said, don't do it. I have to do it. He goes out and reads my truth to the entire audience right before the prime time, the Best Picture. And it said basically, he is the worst host of the history. He reads the whole thing. And then I think he said something like, ha, 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 he thinks he bothers me, or some crap like that. I said, he's one of the dumbest human beings ever. He should have listened to his wife. What a dope.
Jimmy Kimmel's feud list just got a new tech titan, Elon Musk. Reports suggest the late-night host couldn't stomach Musk's Twitter takeover, firing off a tweet so spicy he later scrambled to delete it. Critics are asking, why does a Hollywood comedian care so much about who owns a social media platform? According to Tim Pool, Twitter may have been far cozier with certain narratives than they let on, and Musk's purchase threatened to shake that up. Kimmel's reaction? A public tantrum wrapped in digital regret. Looks like free speech just hit him where it hurts. His timeline.
Yes.
Then you have to insulate it from criticism. And what's the most effective kind of criticism there is? I think it's mockery, which exposes foolishness for what it is. So it makes perfect sense to me. I honestly, I was mistaken about this. It's something I admit I was wrong about, is when early on, when we first started getting fact checked and we first started having these issues with censorship with the Babylon Bee, it was my belief that humor, these were humorless scolds who just didn't think our jokes were funny. And they thought they were offensive and they were being hypersensitive. And that's not the case.
Jimmy Kimmel's Oscars blunder wasn't just awkward. It was immortalized in prime time. As the night built toward the Best Picture reveal, Kimmel reportedly ignored every plea from his wife and manager, storming on stage to read a scathing insult about himself. The statement, branding him the worst host in Academy Awards history, wasn't whispered in a green room. It was broadcast to millions. And the man delivering it, acting like he'd scored a win, when in reality, he just cemented the most self-owned moment in Oscars lore. Sometimes the punchline is the host, and in this case, Kimmel didn't just deliver it, he lived it.
But it's not just that, he's like pouring hot oil on the peasants from the parapet. Right. Like he's hurting anyone who challenges the king. Right. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's upside down. The comedians should be poking holes in the popular narrative, not propping it up.
Jimmy Kimmel is. Like, truly. No, I mean it.
You said it, not me.
No amount of money is worth what he's doing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the battle between humor and censorship, mockery remains the sharpest blade, cutting through the armor of arrogance faster than any fact check. Early on, the team at the Babylon Bee thought their problem was simple. Critics were humorless scolds, incapable of laughing at a joke. But over time, it became clear this wasn't about offense or sensitivity. It was about control. The fact-checkers weren't there to debate punchlines. They were there to smother them, because the one thing more dangerous than dissent is dissent that makes people laugh.
Especially with late-night television. Nobody gives a fuck about it anymore.
I know.
And it's slowly, you have a bad business model, and you're not adapting.
Yeah. The creativity's gone for late-night comedy, right? Like, that's not really a thing anymore.
You got Jimmy Fallon doing a song about different variants of...
When comedians swap their punchlines for pitchforks, the joke's on the audience. Instead of lampooning the powerful, Jimmy Kimmel has become their rooftop guard, pouring rhetorical hot oil on anyone daring to question the king. It's the world turned upside down, the court jester no longer teasing the crown, but protecting it. And no amount of money can make that role noble.